All right, and welcome to another installation of another fantastic 5-minute interview. My name is Ernesto Rodriguez, Chief Consultant for JAE Consulting. I have a special guest tonight. Her name is Luz Francois, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, so I'm going to introduce herself in a second. Our objective here and our goal here at JAE Consulting for this particular platform is to educate, motivate, and inspire the next generation of leaders, whatever they may be. Some may want to go into medicine, social work, or whatever. But that's our objective, is to educate, inspire, and motivate the next generation. My guest tonight, like I mentioned, her name is Luz Francois. Luz, for those who may know you, can you briefly tell a little bit about you and your background?
Absolutely. Good evening. Thanks for having me again. My name is Luz Francois. I am a licensed clinical professional counselor here in the state of Maryland. The name of my company is called Windows Counseling and Consulting Services, LLC. And basically, I provide psychotherapy services to individuals who are struggling with life changes, depression, anxiety. I also provide consulting services. I'm a licensed supervisor for the state of Maryland. So individuals who are coming into the field who need supervision to get fully licensed, I offer supervision, I offer business coaching, and also individuals or moms who need maternal support after giving birth. I provide counseling around those particular issues and areas. I have been in the field for approximately 15 years.
And you still look 15.
Thank you. I've been in this field for a very long time. It is an absolute passion of mine, and I would do it for free if I could. So that's a little bit of what I do.
That's how you know people love what they do. Thank you so much for what you do, and no one tells you that enough. Thank you for your service. So it's all these years you've been doing this. So when did you get into this field of psychotherapy?
Well, to be honest, I got into it because initially when I attended Virginia Union University, and I was initially going to school for biology, and I was going to be a physical therapist. And honestly, to give the honest truth, I suffered a loss in my family to suicide. A very close, thank you, very close family member of mine who was actually living with us at the time, killed himself. And honestly, it was more on top of the devastation. Honestly, I had a curiosity behind it, because I just saw him that day, and I just said, hello or whatever, and he was a little off, but I almost had a curiosity behind it, like why he did it. And so I took a psychology class, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I was struggling with biology at the time.
The real reason.
Genetics, to be specific. So I wrote a letter to my teacher. I was like, look, if you pass me with a D, I promise you. I promise you I would change my major. So he did. He gave me, that's the only D I had. And I switched my major to psychology, and the rest was history.
Isn't that something that God works? That's amazing.
Absolutely.
And I feel like she provided is something that is well needed in our community. Absolutely. So over the years, what kind of changes and trends have you seen happen in that particular field?
The biggest trend I've seen is, and the biggest myth is, that African Americans don't get counseling and therapy. I know that's I hear that all the time, but the biggest trend is that Black people do get therapy. I have a full-time job, and I also do private practice in the evening. If not, most of my caseload of my clients are African American. So African Americans are definitely coming into therapy. African American males, I have males that come to me for therapy. African American females, families, children. So I think the stigma is starting to go away when it comes to mental health. And also with the help of celebrities coming forward, like Simone Biles, to kind of dispel the myth that this is for crazy people.
Right.
It's not. It's really for people who, like me and you, going through just some anxiety, trying to figure out what's happening in the world, trying to figure out if we're safe or not, and needing that extra guided support. So that is the biggest change I'm seeing. I'm seeing that also in the media. Mental health is becoming more of a forefront in the media, and that is being more widely accepted to seek
Yes.
counseling and to therapy. Now you hear about mental health days, people taking that.
Yes.
Before, it was now that there is telehealth, like what we're doing now, there is more people willing to sign up.
Yeah.
So when I initially started, of course, there was no telehealth. So you had to walk in and things like that. So
Right.
now that these things are available through our phones and our laptops, people are signing up. They have a little apprehension. I had a session today where a young lady was apprehensive at first, but she was there, right? So those are some of the changes that I'm seeing. The world is starting to open up and understand, just as physical health is important, mental health is
Without a doubt.
equally as important.
Without a doubt. That's interesting. I'm wondering if based on what you were saying, as far as the trends, and you see more people of color coming forward and, seeking help, is that post COVID, or is that something that's a trend that you've been seeing develop over the years?
I've actually seen it over the years. And always people like, oh, African Americans don't get therapy. And I'm like, well, someone lying to me. All of pretty much my career life, I've seen nothing but African Americans, Black people, people of color, Hispanics, and they want the help. On top of going to church, they want someone to help figure out what's going on with their child. They want someone to help that person struggling with addiction in their family, how to get their family member help who's struggling with addiction, or they want help with the anxiety,
So much.
that they wake up and they feeling in panic in the morning. They kind of want help. And so it's more or less coming as like, please help me. So I think now, since COVID, the telehealth has really, really brought it to light and making it more accessible, I think.
Yes.
Versus someone who maybe was low income, didn't have the transportation to get into to services, or didn't have the money to catch the train. So you had to rely on a therapist coming into your home. But now it's definitely an uptick, and there's waiting lists actually. For most practices, they have waiting lists of people waiting to come into therapy, and those are people of color.
Wow. It's interesting. I really like the fact that how people are galvanizing around others who's speaking up about mental health, like Simone Biles you mentioned, and you see other athletes and other entertainers and people and of influence coming out and say, we're behind you, it's big of you. So that's encouraging to see that. And I'm happy to see that people are doing it and taking it that much serious, especially people of color.
Absolutely. I think that I know in my personal life that I get a lot of pressure just all over, right? And I think especially in the United States, our life is a lot of hustle and bustle. So we get a lot of pressure, work, job, this and that and the third, and we have a hard time turning down the pressure, someone inviting you to a birthday or cookout after a long week, you don't feel like it. And some people are pressuring you, or you take the job only because of the money or whatever. And I think celebrities are learning how to let go of that pressure also. They get just as much pressure as the average person, if not more. And then the pressure from the celebrity or from their schedules is what really causes the mental health issues. And so for people like, hey, look, I need to take time for myself, a self-care day, is really an important lesson for all of us.
Absolutely. So with that said, what do you think makes for the best psychotherapist then?
Well, it's definitely has to be a passion. Yeah, it's serving a healing profession, just like being a doctor. So you can't get into it because you want a job, right? Because it is it's just like I compare myself to like a regular medical doctor. As people lives are on the line. So if you're doing this because it's a job, people can feel it, people know it,
Mhm.
and it impacts person's care and impacts the client care. So getting into the field, you definitely have to make sure that this is the field for you, that talking to about people's issues does not drain you.
You know,
So
with me.
it should be empowering, right? So I did session all evening, but to me it wasn't work. I'm tired physically, but I'm not drained.
Right, you look
So
refreshed. Like you just woke up, you're ready to go. So
thank you. No, I've been in session all evening, but it's in some I in if I feel down once when I do therapy with clients, it actually wakes me up because it's something I enjoy doing. So you definitely have to ask yourself those questions. It's a thankless field. So if you're looking to be thanked and you're looking for gratitude and things like that, then this is definitely not the field. You do get some things, but it's more of it's a profession for you than it is for other people. So
with that said, then what advice would you give to someone coming into the field now who would be interested and say, hey, I'm listening to Luz, that sounds interesting. What do I need to do to get into that field? What advice would you give them?
well, definitely, understanding that you're going to be in school for a while. So you have to get a bachelor's degree and you have to get a master's degree. And then after your master's degree, you have to pursue a licensure. Almost like a doctor, you have to go through an internship process. So it's a few-year process. So you have to definitely make sure that you are committed to the long haul when
And
it
this is
comes.
what you really want to do.
Yeah,
It costs us money to go all the classes, right? Even though
absolutely.
it costs us money as well.
Absolutely. And then you have to definitely understand what population you feel comfortable working with. You want to work with children or adults, or you want to deal with people who have disabilities. That's not my specialty. I don't do people who have disabilities, but definitely understand what population you want to work with. And if you can, get a mentor. Mentorship is key to because you can do this the rest of your life, and you can do this as a business, or you can do this working for someone else. So you have to decide if you want to work for someone else, or you want to work for an employer, you want to work for a nonprofit. Really gauge your niche, what you would like, who you want to serve.
Love that. I don't think I asked this question. How do you best serve your clients or your patients?
Well, you best serve them with a lot of patience, for sure.
No doubt.
And you best serve them in understanding that what they're dealing with is not what all they are, and helping them to understand what they're dealing with is not who they all are. And you have to deal with them also because you have been touched yourself, right? And so you kind of understand, like I shared, I lost a family member to suicide. So when you're coming to someone comes to you, kind of understand what they're dealing with. And you definitely best serve them by taking care of yourself also as a person, as a clinician. So I make sure I take care of myself when I go through difficult times. I take a day off or something's going on in my life. I make sure that I take care of myself so I can best serve others.
I heard a doctor earlier, I was interviewing, saying that self-care is healthcare.
Absolutely.
Like they're saying in the plane, the plane going down, you put your mask on first, then you take care of somebody else, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thanks for that answer. So this is the last question, and as people call this one, this is the crispy one. We see when we pass away, we can, people leave our kids and our friends and family, houses, cars, money, insurance, and all that kind of stuff. But if you're not able to leave any of that, if you were able to leave 3 principles for succeeding in life, what would those 3 principles be to succeed in life and business, as a practitioner, whatever? What advice would you give them? What are those 3 principles and why?
Do something that you would do for free as a job, as an employment. If that's purpose, I'm living out and I'm serving my purpose. So this is who I am. I am a psychotherapist, just like I am Black and I am a woman. I am a psychotherapist. That's who I am. And so I would do this if I won $1 million and $10 million, I would do this for free, right?
Still.
On top of that, this is about, the second thing is to live intentionally, not exist, but to live, to connect to things that make you live, right?
On purpose.
And then on purpose to make you feel alive, whatever that is to you. If it's a cup of coffee, if it's a trip to see your grandma or whatever, do things that make you feel alive. And then the third thing is to seek guidance and divine guidance from God or whatever, or whoever you serve,
Right.
as to what you're supposed to be doing. That comes to purpose. But also the final thing is to treat others well, as you would do unto others, you do unto others, you know. Living life with good choices. Choices are life lasting and long changing. And so making good choices and doing good and serving others. You do that, the rest is history. Your life will remain blessed. So, you know, connecting to life, living, not existing, and living with purpose, defining your purpose, and then treating others well. The rest will happen for you.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you're living in your purpose, because you're a fantastic psychotherapist. I enjoy every time I talk to you. I always learn something new and learn something new about you.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry for the loss of your family members back then, but I think that even with that, there's a blessing in it. It brought you to where you are today.
Absolutely.
So again, thank you for your time. My name is Ernesto Rodriguez, Chief Consultant, JAE Consultant. My very special guest tonight was Luz Francois. Luz, for those who want to get in touch with you, I heard you mention you got a website, your private practice and all of this. Please share your personal information so that people can reach and get in touch with you.
Absolutely. I am accepting clients. You will find me on Sondermind, SONDER, Mind, MIND. And you can look me up as that's where I am accepting clients. And I also do private pay, and I also do fee for scale. So if you can't afford it, I'll work out something with you. But I am located on Sondermind. I'm also at Windows Counseling, LLC at gmail.com. And I look forward to serving you. And thank you for having me. This has been a pleasure.
That's just all ours. Thank you again, Luz.
Thank you.
There, my audience, listeners, thanks for joining us. And I hope you got something out of this wonderful interview. Again, JAE Consultant, have a wonderful and fantastic evening. Good night, everybody.